Good afternoon, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon, President Bongbong Marcos defends the government's decision to hand over his predecessor, Rodrigo Duterte, to the ICC. Duterte's former chief legal counsel files a petition at the Supreme Court calling for the return of the former president to the Philippines. The U.S. resuming military aid to Ukraine after peace talks in Saudi Arabia. And King Charles tests his CPR skills in a nursing event in London. Thanks for joining us. Former President Rodrigo Duterte now on his way to The Hague after he was arrested yesterday at the request of the International Criminal Court. Duterte faces charges of crimes against humanity in relation to his bloody war on drugs. President Bongbong Marcos asserts the turnover is part of the Philippines' obligation to the international community. Pierre Pastor reports.
A few minutes before midnight, President Bongbong Marcos faced the Malacanang press corps and finally addressed the arrest of former President Rodrigo Duterte. It comes minutes after Duterte's jet took off en route to the ICC headquarters in The Hague.
The plane carrying former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte took off at 11:03 p.m. this evening and exited Philippine airspace. The plane is en route to The Hague in the Netherlands, allowing the former president to face charges of crimes against humanity in relation to his bloody war on drugs.
Earlier Tuesday, Duterte arrived back in Manila from an OFW event and campaign sortie in Hong Kong. The former president was arrested upon his arrival and was placed under government custody. Marcos asserts the arrest is in compliance with the Philippine government's commitment with the International Criminal Police Organization, or Interpol.
Hours before his arrival, Interpol Manila received an official copy of the ICC warrant. This prompted the Prosecutor General of the Department of Justice to serve the warrant. If we don't do that, they will no longer help us with other cases involving Filipino fugitives abroad. This is what the international community expects of us. It's a request to the Philippine government from Interpol to enforce the arrest warrant. And of course, we comply with our commitments to Interpol. We did not do this because it was derived from or it came from ICC. We did this because Interpol asked us to do it. And we have commitments to them, and we lived up to those commitments.
The president also said he has a copy of the arrest warrant, which he received from DILG Secretary John Vic Rimulya at 3 a.m. of March 10.
That will explain the basis on how we conducted this arrest of former President Duterte.
The president also answered allegations from Duterte's camp that the arrest was unlawful.
We followed all the legal procedures that are necessary, so I'm confident that if in further examination, you will find that it is proper and correct.
He also denied political persecution against the former president.
Well, I'm sure sasabihin nila yan. But this case started in 2017 when we were still members of the ICC, and it was during the time of former President Duterte. So I don't see how that can be political persecution on my part, because it was initiated before I even came into the picture.
The president also hit the call for people power from Duterte's supporters.
The government is just doing its job. Wala namang it's not because it's one person or another that we do the things that we do. Maybe sa nung mga nakaraan na mga administrasyon, baka ganun ang ginagawa. Pero para sa akin, hindi naman ganun. Sumusunod tayo sa batas. We are a member of the community of nations. We must live up to our responsibilities, to the commitments that we have made to the community of nations.
Despite the Philippines' withdrawal from the ICC in March 2019, the chamber has said it still has jurisdiction over the alleged crimes committed in the country, while it was still a member state to the Rome Statute from November 1, 2011 to March 16, 2019. Pierre Pastor, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Vice President Sara Duterte and her brother, Congressman Paulo Duterte, have also flown out to the Netherlands to oversee the legal battle of their father. Their family has decried what they brand as kidnapping of the former president. More from Hanati.
State kidnapping. That's how Vice President Sara Duterte describes what happened to former President Rodrigo Duterte, who she claims was forcibly taken and flown to the Netherlands under an ICC warrant. Even the VP was blocked from entering Villamor Air Base last night, where her father was held before the plane's takeoff.
Very much pamumulitika ito. Kahit ang ibang bansa nagsalita na, 'di ba? At saka saan ka ba naman nakahanap ng military airbase na chief PNP ang in charge at siya ang nagsasabi kung sino ang pwedeng pumasok at hindi pumasok.
VP Sara is set to follow her father to the Netherlands, though she did not say when.
Meron na pong arrangements kasi kailangan ko kausapin yung mga abogado doon kung saan man siya dalhin. Pupunta kami, ako, at pupunta yung mga abogado and doon kami mag-uusap kung ano yung mga gagawin.
Duterte said she spoke with an ICC lawyer who said this has never happened before and described it as crazy.
Saan ka ba nakahanap ng bayan na yung kanyang citizen mismo ibibigay niya sa dayuhan? Nakakahiya bilang isang Pilipino.
Digong had told her to go home and reassured that he is okay, but she refused.
Hindi dahil tatay ko siya, pero dahil hindi ko matanggap na nagiging doormat tayo ng mga dayuhan.
She also revealed that before the arrest, she sent a letter to President Bongbong Marcos asking about the government stance. Marcos replied that there would be no cooperation with the ICC, a letter she plans to make public. She's now preparing for a possible ICC arrest.
My mother warned me about me as the next target for the ICC.
She warns that Marcos' administration has shown extreme oppression, abuse, and greed, and that the real issue is not her own impeachment or the ICC case, but how the country has stagnated under this government. PRRD's youngest daughter, Kitty Duterte, also calls the arrest kidnapping. On her Instagram story, she took a photo of the plane carrying her father. Kitty was with Digong the entire day yesterday until the former president was taken to the plane. She posted a photo of her torn turtleneck, claiming it was a result of harassment by those who were supposed to protect the country. Her brother, Davao City Mayor Baste Duterte, also slammed the former president's arrest. In a shared post, he questioned how someone who fought criminals could be branded a criminal himself, calling it a crime in itself. Just like VP Sara, Baste thinks what happened was nothing short of kidnapping. Across Mindanao, Duterte supporters gathered in protest. In cities like Davao, Cotabato, and Tagum, crowds held rallies demanding PRRD's release. As of the latest monitoring, some Duterte supporters remained outside Villamor Air Base last night, even after PRRD's plane left for the Netherlands. Hanati, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Titi Duterte seeking the Supreme Court's intervention to bring her father back home. She filed a petition for a writ of habeas corpus this morning through former Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo. Joash Malimban joins us live from the High Court for the details. Joash, what is the latest there? What did the Duterte camp say?
Mai, Salvador Panelo claims that Philippine authorities have violated the rights of the former president because he was allegedly, for one, deprived of legal representation at the time of his arrest. The PNP did not allow his lawyers to meet him at the airport and to question the legal basis of the arrest. Attorney Sal also says the arrest was illegally made because, according to him, the International Criminal Court has no jurisdiction over the country. But the 2021 decision by the Supreme Court states that withdrawing from the Rome Statute does not discharge a state party from the obligations it has incurred as a member. What we want to clarify here today, Mai, is if the authorities really follow the legal procedures of the Rome Statute, because it seems there are still some gray areas of what happened yesterday in accordance to the Article 59 of the Rome Statute. This states that a person arrested shall be brought promptly before the competent judicial authority in the custodial state, which will determine the initial legal technicalities of the said arrest. In addition, an interim release may also be recommended by the country's judicial authority before the arrested person is brought to the court in The Hague. But as what we've seen here, Duterte has been immediately arrested, brought to the Bilyonaryo Air Base without any access to his legal counsel, and then directly flown out of the country through a chartered Learjet. These are just some of the things we would like to clarify from the Department of Justice and the Supreme Court today. But as of now, or as of today, Mai, the DOJ has refused to comment on this issue, and they said that they have already coordinated with the Office of the President. Mai.
Joash, yesterday security was tight at the NAIA and the Bilyonaryo Air Base. What's it like there at the Supreme Court now? Are there additional police forces?
Mai, from police forces from the Manila Police District has been deployed in the vicinity along the streets of Padre Fora for anticipated protests, both from the supporters of Duterte and those that are seeking accountability from the alleged human rights abuses cases against the former president. Mai.
Thank you. Joash Malimban reporting to us live from the Supreme Court in Manila. Senate President Cheese Escudero calling for restraint and respect amid Duterte's legal battle. Escudero says the peaceful service of the Interpol warrant reflects the country's commitment to upholding international agreements. He expects the ICC to respect the rights of Duterte and ensure he is afforded due process. Escudero also calls on election candidates to refrain from using the issue to fan the flames of partisanship. He says this is a serious issue that should not be trifled with for petty, personal, or political gain. Tearful families of drug war victims gather from masses to celebrate the arrest of former President Duterte. They say it's a crucial step towards justice while recalling the suffering and loss they have endured. Zandro Ochona has this story.
Mixed emotions from mothers left behind by those killed during the bloody war of former President Rodrigo Duterte. Teresita Campo can't help but cry as she recalls when her son Jonald was gunned down during an alleged police operations on November 27, 2016.
Tuwan-tuwa po ako at nagpasalamat ko kay Lord. Nagkaroon ng katarungan yung pagpapapatay ni Duterte sa anak ko na hindi dapat. Dapat sa ganong sitwasyon, sa mga droga na yan, dapat unahin niya yung puno, hindi yung mga ganyang galamay, hindi naman yung dapat. Dapat unahin niya yung puno, papatay niya. Noon nag-hearing kami sa Senado, inamin naman niya na pag lumaban, patayin nyo. Hindi naman lumaban yung anak ko naglalakad lang sa karsada Puro likod ang tama.
Belen lost her son Marcelo Jr. with other 5 garbage collectors resting at her house in Payatas.
Gusto ko na mangyari, kagaya ngayon, akulong na siya. Pagbayaran niya lahat yung mga dapat pagbayaran niya. Dahil yung mga tao doon, pwede naman ikulong yun kung Dapat hindi niya pagpapatayin. Dahil kawawa naman para makaisip pa ng pagbago ba. Yung mga nagaganyan, bigyan nila ng pagkakataon.
At 70, she's left with 3 grandchildren.
Nasisiyahan din ang damdamin ko, pero maski na ganun, masakit sa damdamin ko dahil ang mga apo ko naghihirap din. Paano kaya makatapos yung mga apo ko? Yung isa college na, yung isa senior high, yung isa grade 6.
Yunila lost her son-in-law in 2017, but their family searched for 3 days before his body was found at the garbage dump site.
Hirap na kami. Ngayon, nagpasalamat ako nga nahuli na si Duterte. Sana mamatay siya. Di ko matakot og iyaming barilin dito. Talaban ko talaga, ipaglaban ko talaga ni ako manugang.
A mass was held at the Ina ng Lupang Pangako Parish as news broke that the former president was taken into custody following an arrest warrant from the ICC. Another mass was held at the Sacred Heart Parish in Kamuning. Kian de los Santos is another popular victim of the war on drugs campaign. His uncle shared how he rejoiced upon learning of Duterte's arrest.
Masaya, no? Masaya kami. Hindi lang ako, kundi yung mga 10 ng pamilya kasama ko ngayon na magdidiwang ng misa at masaya kami, no? Dahil ito yung ilang taon na naming iniintay, no? Ang managot, yung dapat managot.
He pointed out Duterte is in a better situation, far from what his camp claimed that his rights were abused.
Yung aking ang pamangkin hindi nga nadala sa korte. Ang daming akusasyon na binato noong pinatay ito. Mapalad ang ating Pangulo dahil mabibigyan siya ng pagkakataon na ipagtanggol ang kanyang sarili.
Victims' families and those helping them remain hopeful as justice is at a hand's reach.
Hopeful po ako na isusunod at sa susunod na mga warrant ang mga nagpanday ng bahay ng kadiliman at kamatayan. Hopeful po ako na ang mga nagpanday, mga pumatay, mga napag-utusan, sila naman po ang kasama. Total, gusto naman nila at mahal naman nila si Digong, samahan din nila sa kalabos. At naniniwala ho ako na walang kikilingan ang ICC.
De Los Santos' family and the other surviving families of victims are yet to get details if they will also fly to The Hague as witnesses to the trial. Zandro Ochona, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
We're taking a quick break. Up ahead, King Charles joins nursing students for a CPR skills test. That and more when Newsfeed at Noon returns.
Who defines strength? Who shapes the future? Who stands tall even in the face of challenges? Women of substance are everywhere. They build, they heal, they lead, they love. We celebrate you because you matter. Happy National Women's Month.
Ito lang original, ang inyong kasangga, Paring Ray. Abante na tayo! Abangan at panoorin ang inyong mga kasangga tuwing Sabado, alas 6 ng gabi.
Mapapanood rin kami sa Bilyonaryo News Channel at iba't ibang platforms.
Ino po si Paring Ray.
At ako naman si JR Langit.
Laging tandaan,
Sa anumang laban, kasangga mo ang langit.
You're back on Newsfeed at Noon. The United States has agreed to resume military aid to Ukraine immediately after the peace talks in Saudi Arabia. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says Kiev is ready to accept Washington's proposal for a 30-day ceasefire and that he will now take the offer to Russia. The U.S. suspended military assistance to Ukraine after the fiery meeting between President Trump and Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House last week.
Today, we made an offer that the Ukrainians have accepted, which is to enter into a ceasefire and into immediate negotiations to end this conflict in a way that's enduring and sustainable and accounts for their interests, their security, their ability to prosper as a nation. Hopefully we'll take this offer now to the Russians. And we hope that they'll say yes to peace. The ball's now in their court. And our hope is that the Russians will say yes, that they will also agree. So the shooting will stop, the killing will stop, the dying will stop, and the talks can begin about how to end this war permanently in a way that's acceptable and enduring for both sides.
U.S. President Trump also hoping Russia, like Ukraine, will agree to the 30-day ceasefire deal. Trump says a meeting with Moscow is already in the works. He also plans to invite Ukraine's Zelensky back to the White House.
Ukraine, ceasefire. Ukraine, ceasefire. Just agreed to a little while ago. Now we have to go to Russia and hopefully President Putin will agree to that also. And we can get this show on the road. We can get this horrible war where 2,000-3,000 soldiers a week, every week, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 sometimes, and we want to get that war over with. So I think it's a big difference between the last visit you saw at the Oval Office and this. So that's a total ceasefire. Ukraine has agreed to it, and hopefully Russia will agree to it. We're going to meet with them later on today and tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to wipe out a deal.
Some royal news. Britain's King Charles tests his CPR skills during a nursing event in London. The royal performed the life-saving maneuver on a dummy surrounded by young nursing cadets. The king visited the Royal College of Nursing's headquarters to celebrate a program that encourages young people to pursue careers in healthcare. In sports, another masterful performance from Nikola Jokic in the NBA. The Joker led the Denver Nuggets in their bounce-back win against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Final score 140-127. Jokic sizzled with 35 points while Jamal Murray exploded for 34 markers. The Nuggets are currently second in the West. Meanwhile, the Brooklyn Nets escaped the Los Angeles Lakers in a thriller. The Nets ran away with a 111-108 victory at home to end a 7-game losing streak. Total team effort from Brooklyn, with Noah Clowney sparking the Nets with 19 points off the bench. Gabe Vincent had a season-high 24 points for the Lake Show, while Luka Doncic posted a triple-double. But the Lakers, with LeBron James missing due to a groin injury, has now lost 2 straight games. LA is third in the West, while Brooklyn is 10th in the East. In entertainment, they tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. Kendrick Lamar is back on top of the music charts. K-Dot's smash album GNX returns to #1 on the Billboard 200 chart for a third non-consecutive week. Lamar ended the 3-week reign of his rival Drake, whose collab album with producer Party Next Door, Some Sexy Songs for You, slides to the 3rd spot. Kendrick's domination also extends to the Billboard 100 chart as his song Luther with R&B star SZA remains #1 for the 3rd week. From one rap star to another, as Grammy winner Doechii is set to add another piece of hardware to her growing collection. Billboard says the Swamp Princess will receive the 2025 Woman of the Year award at its annual Women in Music event on March 29th. The Denial is a River hitmaker becomes the second rapper to win the top honors after Cardi B in 2020. She also joins Lady Gaga and Ariana Grande as the 3rd woman to progress from Billboard Rising Star to Woman of the Year honoree. And Bella Hadid makes a runway comeback during the final day of Paris Fashion Week. Wearing a square-shouldered deep blue lace dress, the supermodel joined Saint Laurent's fall-winter women's wear collection. Front row guests include Hailey Bieber and Zoe Kravitz. And those are the news this hour. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Keep it here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Good afternoon.